What is up, guys? Fatal82 coming at you with a look at cave bases in Rust. I'm not the most experienced builder with cave bases, guys, but I've seen a lot of them when I've been spectating on Rustopia and different servers, so I've seen a lot of different cave base designs, and cave bases have become a little bit more desirable after the introduction of ladders, because ladders can't be used to necessarily get up a cave base because it's, well, inside the cave. So guys, if you like building underground, this is the closest thing you're going to get to in Rust at this point. Caves spawn randomly on the map in different locations. They do all tend to look the same though on the inside. So while the caves spawn in random locations, the generation of the cave is very predictable. They all have the same amount of room inside, and they all have two entry points, one being the main entry point here, and another being a side entry point on the side over here as well. A lot of raiders will enter the cave base through this particular point, and they will try to drop down into the cave from this point. So if you have a base built down here, they'll try to get in through a ceiling that way. So this is a critical point to protect when you're building a cave base, and then you also want to, of course, protect the face of the cave as well. Now, there's a lot of different styles for building cave bases, guys. Some people prefer just to kind of do a minimalist approach and build inside the cave, and other people try to build a fortress actually outside of the cave. So let's go ahead and just talk about building in the cave, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at a cave base example. And you want to be aware, guys, that building inside of caves is a little bit different than it was in previous iterations of Rust. So the triangle foundations are going to be the way to go. The square foundations are very difficult to get to place correctly inside the cave, and you'll notice that it's red in most locations, and it only lights up blue in certain spots, and they're very difficult to link together if you were to place them. In contrast, if you switch over to the triangular floor foundations, you'll notice that you can freely place them in a much better grouping, and you can actually honeycomb them and make them very tight in terms of their groupings. It's really the way to go. They can even reach under rocks in places that your square foundations wouldn't be able to get to. So when you're building a cave base now, guys, really the triangular foundations are the way to go. It's really the only good way to do it right now. You can honeycomb it, you can do it in different ways, and it's a really interesting building method. With the cave bases, guys, they all, like I said, do kind of look the same. They all generate the same way, but the farthest point of the cave base, the deepest part, is going to be right down here. You can construct a loot room down here. You can do things, you know, in however you want, but typically you're going to want to place probably some good loot down here. You can, you know, put a doorway. You can do really whatever it is that you want to do. Some caves down here, guys, will actually have some water in it. So in the bottom of the cave, there'll actually be some water. Certain caves do generate with that, and that's pretty cool. A long time ago, I actually built an underwater loot room in a cave that had water that started about at this point. It was really cool. I put a chest down there, code locked the chest, and it was a really secure loot room. So guys, what are the benefits to building in a cave, and what are the downsides? So the benefits are, it is a predictable way to protect your loot, a predictable way to predict how raiders are going to come into your base. So you're going to know that they're going to come through 2 points of entry, either the main mouth of the cave or the side hole that is over there, and you can mitigate against that by really protecting those areas. The downsides, guys, is there's a limited amount of room in here to build with. So space is limited, and your design's going to have to really conform to the inside of the cave. The cave does provide some added benefits. You can actually, I think, use sometimes less resources because the rocks are going to provide you with a lot of great protection, and players can't get through the rock. They can't C4 through it or hack their way through it, so that's a benefit as well. The downsides are, guys, it's a bit of a choke point. So if you get stuck down here and you can't fight your way out, you're going to be at the mercy of the people who are raiding you. So cave bases are both good and bad. They are much more desirable now that ladders have been added into the game. I'm not the best builder with cave bases, so let's go ahead and take a look at an example of a cave base. Alright, would you mind taking us through your cave base build? Don't show us any secrets that are going to reveal your loot rooms necessarily, but if you wouldn't mind showing us off some of what you did this build with your cave base.
Yeah, I don't mind at all, sure. An elevator system here, and we can just jump right up.
Cool, so an elevator system gets you up over the barricades. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So with this particular build, what was your reasoning for doing a cave base?
Well, you have to descend. It's very C4 intensive, rocket intensive. It's hard to raid. because of those two reasons.
Exactly.
You're funneling your opponent. They can't just easily, quickly ladder up to your roof, get to all your juicy loot. You know, everything is cordoned off, and it's in the areas where you can decide where they are. You know what I mean?
And not to mention the ladders, you know, with the cave bases, you can't scale up a cave base with ladders. So now that ladders have been implemented this recent patch, you know, you want to mitigate against those, and cave bases are a good way of doing that. So take us inside and show us off some of your magic in here.
Sure. What you're going to see is triangle foundations everywhere, and I've noticed that at this front entrance, you don't really have to upgrade the side blocks. This front block is enough to prevent, you know, someone from pickaxing down here and pickaxing in easily.
Right.
And then I've just tried to allocate as much space.
This is a Rust Cribs edition of your cave base.
Yeah, and enjoy. So I mean, there's just lots of different areas for loot stashes. You can just hop up this way. Yeah. So you have loot back here.
So you got a little loot area, which looks like it's protected somewhat by the rock, which can't be damaged, which is a nice feature.
Generally speaking, a lot of the attackers come from this side angle. So
yes,
as you descend into the base, you know, gradually you're gonna find better loot, more protected areas, things of that nature.
Right on, man. Well, take me deeper into your juicy cave hole and show me.
Sure, dude. Into the juicy cave hole we go. I really don't mind
is going on here, man?
I started placing these boxes here, and they were interacting with the ceiling, and so I just tried to optimize the space here, and that's what you have.
Oh wow! So they were interacting with the rock, and then they were suspended in air. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, with enough time and effort and wiggle room, you just try to finagle a space, and then that's what happens. So there you go.
A good deal.
I've got my furnaces running down here.
Holy shit, man! This looks
kind of like a hidden area. Yeah.
This looks like some hellish scene from a underground dungeon or something with all these furnaces going.
Yeah.
Underground.
And you design your base any way you'd like. I mean, the server resets every week for us, so
right.
You know, I'm really not shy. I ultimately just try to protect my loot and make it, you know, cost as many C4 as possible to get to the really juicy stuff.
That's one of the coolest furnace rooms I've seen in a while. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, you just wrap them around. Again, it's just about allocating space and being productive with all the space that you have.
Absolutely.
So we can keep descending.
This is a really much more building going on down here than I thought when you said you did a cave base build. I've seen a lot of cave base builds, and they've been sort of very sparse. People would build off the front entrance and then sort of live out of the cave itself. But this is probably one of the more, if not the most complex cave base that I've seen. Very interesting build. I'm very impressed with what you've done here.
Yeah. Again, I wasn't able to place any square foundations, so you can see I've kind of tried to just optimize all of the space using triangle foundations, and it's worked out pretty good. A lot to my surprise.
So it's entirely triangles. There's no square foundations down here.
No square foundations anywhere. So this is kind of a tricky jump up. You really have to work with it. But
very cool, very cool. So up here, I'm losing my sense of direction here. So we've gone up a level. Is this the farthest point of the cave, or?
No, it still goes down more.
Oh, okay.
Again, you have tons of space to use here. It's about trying to build smart and trying to optimize the space that you have. But if you can layer up and build different levels inside, you can actually come over here and check this out. Yeah, I utilize a ladder here. But,
oh, nice. So you have a secret little stash up here where you can put chests, maybe even sleeping bags.
Going down. And you still have more space down here, though. This is getting near the bottom of what area that I had to begin with, right down here.
Okay.
And
So-
I'm not going to reveal anything else from this point, but you can obviously see it's hard. It's just really hard.
Absolutely. So this is an absolute maze down here. I'm really taken aback sort of by all of the things that you've placed here. Very, very interesting build.
And that would be questioning cave bases. There's a negative to having cave bases, is that you are limited with space.
Right.
So if there is a raid group that has the resources and has a knowledge of, builds and cave bases or your build style, they're gonna eventually get to your stuff.
So the negatives to the cave bases are just that there is a limitation on space. You've used the space very wisely with this build in a very creative way, but you're still limited by the confines of the cave. The other downside is that you're bottlenecked at the front of the cave. There's only one way in and one way out. Well, actually two ways with that side hole in the cave, but it's a very predictable location, although this build has been very unpredictable with the pathways. It looks very much like a dungeon or a maze down here, but the cave itself, all the caves are the same in the way that they spawn, so the formation of the cave is a very predictable layout.
Absolutely. You have to weigh the positive. A lot of people don't bother with cave bases.
Right.
Really, if you just start off day one and isolate that choke point at the top and on the side, you're gonna have a lot of space to yourself, and it'd be a great beginner base if you just want to allocate the space for something that you felt protected through the first night. Because
Right.
this requires a significant amount of pickaxing, C4, combination of those things to really kind of fully raid and get through all of your stuff. Now, there's other spaces in here that I haven't shown you. You know what I mean? There's other spots, there's other different tips and tricks that you can do to help, hide your gear, protect your gear, all those different kinds of things. But
Absolutely, and you've primarily used to get up to different locations a building method that some people might not utilize a lot or realize they can do, but you kind of some makeshift stairs. You have a box and then you open a door and you can then get up to the next level, and once you close that door, it closes off the ability to get up a floor. So
yeah,
that's a good method.
With the inability to place square steps or square foundations, I couldn't place half blocks, and I couldn't place floors halfway high.
Right.
So really, this was just trying to deal with adversity. This was kind of one of only a couple ways where I found that I could actually get away with going up and down levels. Well, you know what I mean? Having to use this technique.
Well, man, I really appreciate everything you've shown me, and I don't want to give away any more secrets. I appreciate that you've shown us this much, especially on a server where there's people actively looking to raid you. Any other tips or tricks or anything else to say about cave bases?
Have a lot of resources. Use the terrain around you to your advantage, and always set up a flank base. Always have something out. If you get bottlenecked inside here and you get pushed back into your base, it's going to be rockets to your face. And I've personally done that. I've personally raided a cave base where someone was trying to fight from the inside out and had nowhere to go. You know what I mean? Just kept getting pushed back.
Absolutely.
So you want to be able to flank, and there's a lot of benefit to raiding a raider, because a lot of raiders carry a lot of stuff. So
Absolutely.
that's a good tip. And thank you, man. Thanks for your channel, all the things that you do, dude.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming checking it out, dude.
Yeah, definitely, man. I always enjoy your builds, and I think the people on the channel do as well. They enjoy your glacier base and your water base, and now they're going to enjoy sort of some of your cave base tips. I know that's all the rage right now with the advent of ladders. So thanks a lot, man, and we'll catch you later, dude.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, peace.
All right, there we go.
Oh. Fuck, dude. Shit.